I was going to be able to be that somebody for what I needed when I was in high school. And so most of me telling my story started with a notebook, okay? So I didn't really even get comfortable with even beginning to the idea of telling my story until I attended Misericordia University, and most nights I would cry myself to sleep, and I'd lay in my bed at night and I would just write and write everything, anything that happened that day, any feelings that I was feeling, but I didn't want anybody else to be able to know that I was gay, because I was going to Misericordia is a Catholic school, so I was an ally. I was at every LGBT event. I was there, I was supporting people, but in reality, I was one of them. So I would just write down my feelings, and once I got all my feelings down, I just crumble it up, and it would go in the garbage. And this went on for months, just kept going on. And then I decided I was going to start journaling. And so I journaled through my freshman year of college every single day, pretty much. If I wasn't journaling, I was, doing short writings. I have a lot of them on my blog, which I shared after 2 years after I had written them, when I was ready to share my story. Now I just have journals and journals filled with writings, and then it led to something bigger. But I just want to read something real quick that really got me to be able, what opened my eyes and the reason why I was I need to tell my story. I read this article when I was at Misericordia, when I was depressed, at my lowest, and it said, "Who are you? I bet you have a story to tell. Will you tell it? What would be the cost to you in your life if you chose not to tell your story? What would you like to share with the people who know you and those who don't? Of all the things that you can do to make the world a better place, few things are more valuable and beneficial than telling your story. There are great platforms that blast the doors wide open to affording people like you and me this privilege. No one can tell your story better than you can. Chances are you will help others and yourself in the process. Where have you been and what have you learned? What do you hold dear? What have you endured and what has made you tougher? How have your experience enlightened you and in turn inspired and informed you to produce positive change for others? Is your story a sad one, a trial of difficulties and hurtful experiences? If so, plenty of people will want to empathize and learn from the battles you fought. And when you're ready to tell that story, you'll find that opening up to a person or community that you can trust will allow a big weight to plummet off of your shoulders. The worst mistake we can make in life is thinking that other people don't care what we have to say. Our stories are unique, genuine, and real. They are better told when we have the stage alone to ourselves. It certainly takes courage to tell your story, or any great story for that matter. There's so much to lose by living in fear and passing on the opportunity to impact the lives of others. If you've never tried, I hope you're willing to take the first step. So I read this, and I realized how important it was for me to tell my story. But also, I wasn't out at this time, so I didn't really have much to tell. Eventually, I met Kelsey, and she basically gave me the courage to come out. And I'm not here to tell you if you're not out to come out. That's not what this is about. This is about just, it doesn't matter if you tell your story today or in 5 years, or maybe you never will tell your story to a big crowd, but even having it in your journal, or having it the best way to tell your story is somewhere online, because that can't be erased. And nobody who's in the LGBT community deserves to have their story erased. You're the only person who can tell that story. So I'm going to share another video of why I think it's so important to tell your story. My writings slowly went from just my own personal thoughts, and they were just for me. And then I started a blog, but I didn't let anybody read on that, but I figured maybe somebody will read them. And then once I came out, I don't really have a sad coming out story. My family has been very accepting. However, I've had to deal with stuff, and all of us have had to deal with something in our lives. Let me just find this. I started letting other people read them, and then I started a YouTube channel, and one thing led to another, and now I feel like I've impacted people. And I've yelled at God way too many times, God, why am I this way? And he answered, because I made you this way, my child. Then I screamed, God, why are they this way? And I'm still waiting for an answer. And to know that if I were a boy, everything would be different is devastating. This has nothing to do with my character and everything to do with my sex and gender. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I hate gender. I was born a female, but that hasn't stopped me from loving your daughter any less than any man could love her. I was taught two things in my life, to love and be happy, and that's all I know. And I hope that when I am gone, people say that we loved with a love that was more than love, because I believe that our love is what kept me from drowning in my tears. I'll keep spreading love and happiness, because hate is going to get us nowhere. When I posted this, you can imagine that got a lot of backlash from Kelsey's family. And I kind of decided that I wasn't going to post my thoughts, even though I had permission from Kelsey to post this. I kind of decided, is it worth it? And I think in the end, posting my story and, I personally, it's not my relationship, but now that I'm married, it is my relationship. And so I think that this was the turning point in kind of opening Kelsey's family's eyes. We went to visit in August, and they were very accepting. They told me that they loved me, and I feel like the more I was able to slowly tell my story through whether it be just a Facebook post or a YouTube video here or a vlog there, I think that your words and your voice and your story empower people. It brings people, they can bring people together. So the biggest thing for me for coming out was I knew that coming out empowered those who couldn't come out. And deep down, yes, I was terrified, because everybody's terrified for one reason or another. But deep down inside, I knew that if I knew my mom for who she was, that she would be accepting. And she was. I bawled my eyes out, and she was like, let's go. I told her, I was like, Mom, well, I didn't even tell her. Actually, my sister was like, she likes girls, I think, or whatever. And I was bawling on their floor, and my mom's like, really? That's why you're crying? Let's go. We have to go somewhere. And I was like, are you kidding me? For the past 6 years, I've cried every night just to be told, let's go. This isn't a big deal. So once I came out, I knew I wanted to use my story to be there for somebody else, somebody who is in high school. Also, I thought that coming out was showing respect to the hard work of LGBTQ activists who came before me. And when you come out, fellow LGBTQ people become less terrified. But if you think about how we got to where we are today with LGBT rights, it took somebody opening their mouth and talking and telling their story. And so in that video, but I think it just takes one person. You don't it could be the most simple story, and one person might hear that, and it could just it's like a ripple effect. And I'm not saying it has to be something big like that in your life. It can be something small, but these are all reasons why I think that everybody has a story, and why it's important that you find your words, you find your voice, and then you share your story. Everybody has a story, whether you're getting your beliefs down on paper or just your feelings. You might feel right now you don't have a big story, but it doesn't have to be a big story. The rain is falling, misery takes over my body. The only thing running through my mind is my past, a past full of regrets and pain. The room is full of darkness. I close my eyes and see black. I ask God to forgive me of my sins. There is no answer. I want him to take the rage out of my life and fix the damage. I need it out of my life before it ravages my soul. My heart is burning with my past love life. I am cracking my knuckles because I am so stressed. What do I do? I guess I can sleep. It's now morning and it's winter. The day is quickly passing by and there are still no answers. The beauty of the sunset is the only thing keeping me alive. It brings a sense of peace into my life. My surroundings are pure and white with the freshly fallen snow. It's beautiful all around me. The orange ball in the sky is astonishing, and the thought of its power overtakes my mind. It's a splendid sight. I have never felt more alive than now. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel. All I can say is I must be bipolar.